There we go. All right. We should be live and ready to roll. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm going to check my audio really quick. So it should roll over here. All right, we're good. Let me mute this guy because, hey, be quiet. Be quiet. I don't want to hear you. But I do want to see any comments that I get from you all. So, welcome to a Memorial Day edition of JR's Woodshop. I've been gone for a week. My glasses got dirty somehow while I was walking around getting things ready this morning. Anyway, I was gone for a week, kind of like a little mini, not really a vacation, sort of a vacation. I went and visited family. So I went to Texas, where it was actually cooler than it was in Virginia. It was so weird. Usually you don't go to Texas to cool down, but this time I did. So now I'm back in Virginia, so the cold followed me. So it's only like 55 degrees outside. It was a cold, cold weekend. But today is Memorial Day. It is sunny and it's supposed to be about 75 degrees. So a nice little warm up. I got to get these glasses replaced. They got completely messed up, and I still haven't replaced them. I need to call the eye doctor today and get my prescription and get these taken care of before they fall off my face. Anyway, welcome to the shop. Hopefully you had a good weekend and you're having a good Memorial Day. For those who are not in the United States, it is a holiday in the United States. It's Memorial Day, where we take some time to remember those who served their country in the military and gave their lives so that the rest of us could, have it pretty good. And so we take a minute or two to, it pretty much seems like a minute. It should be longer, but it's not. But anyway, we give thanks to those who made the ultimate sacrifice for the rest of us. So for those of you who with family members who have done that, thank you very much for your sacrifice. So a lot of people are just hanging out and barbecuing and things like that. Me, I'm in the shop because I haven't been here, and I wanted to get back in and get busy on some things, get working. I've got a lot of things in progress right now. Well, a lot of things. I've got a big objects in progress. I've got all these bases that I've been working on are in progress, and we've got things to do with those. So we're going to jump in fairly soon on taking care of that stuff. But I wanted to show off a couple of things before we do that, because, I like to start with a little show and tell sometimes in the mornings. I'm going to start with this because this is very cool. Okay, this isn't very cool. This is my Stanley block plane. I'm going to just, I started this camera and it was on this morning, and then now it's like not being on, it's being a pain in the butt. Is it going to come on for me? Come on for me. It's not going to come on. I don't know what's up with this GoPro. It's being really weird. Hang on a second. Let me turn it off. And then I got to turn it back on again. I checked it this morning. I swear I did. Anyway, it was on. It was being good. And now it's not so much. Let's try now. There we go. All right, so this is a Stanley block plane. You can see it says Stanley in there. This is just my standard little block plane that I use for a bunch of different applications. But this weekend, not this weekend, but this past week when I was in Texas, my brother gave me this. So this is a very special tool right here. It looks like the other one, right? It looks like a block plane. And it's a block plane, but this block plane belonged to my grandfather, which is very cool. His little initials SP are kind of in the side of it. I don't know how he did this. It looks like he actually took a punch and just kind of made it in there. Anyway, his initials are in the side here. And it's old. I'm not sure how old this is, but I would say at a minimum, this thing is 60 years old. Could be much older. There is no branding on this, so I'm not sure what the brand name would be. The features are very similar to this. You've got a wheel in the back here, which is this one right here. They're just facing different directions, but this controls how much of the blade is sticking down through. You've got a little side-to-side thing here to move the blade in the correct, to square it up, make sure it's square. You've got, which this one has up here, right here. That's this one right here. You loosen this, and then you can slide the blade back and forth, and you tighten this. They both have this little top cap tightening thing. I got to tighten the screw up here. So they have this little screw right here to keep the top cap on there, and then this tightens it up, so it holds it tight. This one is the exact same way. So you can see there's a screw here, and then you can loosen it and then shift it around. So if you loosen it, then you can shift the position, tighten it back down, and then this holds it still. There is a single blade inside. This one is a bevel up. On this one, you've got this front brass screw. So if you turn this brass screw and loosen it, you can actually adjust the opening of the gap. And this one is the exact same way. So there is the same type brass screw up here, and then this lever right here adjusts the opening of the gap. So very similar construction and design. I think, that was a kind of a standard design for most block planes. What this one needs, though, is some serious love, because obviously it's old, and the blade has seen much better days in terms of sharpness and just cleanliness. I took this to my stone and my 300 grit diamond stone, and you can see where right through here where it was rubbing, because I just did it flat, and it was rubbing on there, but it does not touch in the front. That's bad, because this should be, if nothing else, that very front edge always needs to be flat. Because that's your cutting edge. The rest of this, not as important. This front edge always needs to be, and it's not even touching the front edge yet. So that needs to be done. This front bevel, not sharp at all. I mean, I could probably cut butter with it, but not much more. And it's kind of grungy and dirty. So I need to, and I'm gonna have to spend some time getting that done. I'm not doing that today. It'll take some time. Additionally, on the bottom, on the bottom plate here, the foot, I ran this across as well, and you can see when the corners right here, these corners touched, and then right here touched. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to get it so you can see where it actually touched the stone right here, but nothing up here. So, I mean, I want to get it a little bit flatter. I would like to have it flat across the front right here. So I may spend a little time getting this flat. Not a ton, but a little bit. You want it to sit square. I mean, it is touching in all four corners here, but it's not really touching up here. So I will spend some time flattening this up, which means basically it'll sit on a stone and just go back and forth and back and forth. I might get some grit sandpaper and do this on some sandpaper just to make it a little faster. But I would like to get this touched up, and then I would just touch up the edges. I gotta be careful. I don't want to mess this up because his initials are in there, and that's really special to me. So inside it had this kind of paint that's looking like it's seen better days. I don't know that I will repaint this. I might try to clean it out a little bit. I would definitely try to shine up the brass screws and such, take them off and get them shined up and clean just the decades of gunk out of here. This frog piece right here where it touches, I probably should hit this with a file right here just to clean that up, because that looks a tad bit rusty, and that's the one thing you don't want in your tool is rust. So anyway, but that was a really special surprise. My brother dropped this on me, and I was like, well, that is just super cool. So I was very excited to get this. And this is, I'm not sure what this is, cast something. I will just basically clean this as best I can. I'm not gonna try to do anything else because I don't want to knock the polish off of it. But I can clean all the gunk out. There's a lot of gunk in there and stuff. So I will clean the gunk out, and that will be very cool. But yeah, so this was really exciting for me to get this, and thank you to my brother who passed this along to me. He's like, yeah, I've got this, but I don't really do a lot of handwork, tool work, and you do, so it would probably serve you better. And I was like, well, that is awesome. I will take it. So there you go. So that was really cool. I was very excited about that. So that's kind of a new thing. What else do we have new today? So when I got home, I did my my mail check and went through all the mail that I got, right? And I had my, you know, my woodcraft little mailer come in the mail for probably Memorial Day holiday weekend. But there was something very cool in here. I mean, I go through these and always look to see what's what and if there's anything interesting. And, you know, there's like, you know, oh, make these for Father's Day and blah, blah, blah. And lots of little tools and stuff. But there's one in here that I thought you all might be interested in, which is, it's made by Lee, who makes some really quality stuff. They make some very quality jigs for doing dovetails and stuff. But they came out with this through dovetail jig, which I'm going to see if I can go back over here and show you this. So right here, there you go, right under, nope, right here, this through dovetail jig. Okay, this is, and it's 80 bucks, okay? 80 bucks. Now I'm going to show you something, because that is the same thing I use for making my dovetails, except mine's not made by Lee. I'm going to reach down here and grab it, and it's like probably covered in stuff. But this is the one that I use right here. And this is what I make all of my dovetails with, is this jig. It's fantastic. It actually has two bits, one bit for doing the tails and one for doing the pins. And you do them on, depending, these are shaped differently. So this is straight, so you can see that this, if you look, this is a backer board, which is made of MDF. So you can see here where this actually has the angled blade going in there, and then a straight blade goes in here. This makes the tails. And mine's nice because it has these little grip things. Theirs just actually shows a set of clamps holding your wood in. Mine has these special clamps. The thing I like about this, you can mount this, you can put this on top of your board. So if you're going to do dovetails on a board, you can rest this on top of the board, like have this in a clamp, rest this on top, and then use your router. But what I love about, actually it would go in, I'm sorry, let me do this the right way. You'd do it like this, and then you'd run your, you take your board right here, you'd put it in a clamp, you'd set this on top, you'd line it up, and then you take your router and run it through along the guides there, depending on if you're cutting tails or pins. But the way that I use this is on my router table, because I take it, it sits on my router table like this. I set the depth of my blade, of the router bit, depending on the wood thickness and everything else. And then all I have to do is move this on there and cut all of them on my table. And it is so, so handy. I got this at the woodworking show, I'd say 2 years ago or so. But I got this complete kit with the things and the stuff and all the bits and everything. And it cost, I want to say, 150 bucks. And you can find this particular one at Peachtree Woodworking, which is out of somewhere in Georgia, maybe Atlanta. But Peachtree Woodworking carries this one. So this is their product. But this Lee one is, I would imagine, has got to be a good quality. And it looks like, so pins and tails, it's set up for doing the exact same thing. I don't know if it comes with the bits that you need, so that it would be something to check out. But I'm telling you what, this system right here it's awesome. I love doing this. You get really nice, I mean, you can fine tune these things, and then you get perfect dovetails. Now they're through dovetails. These are not half blinds. I think I can do half blinds on mine because I can do some special stuff. But if you just want to do through dovetails, I mean, it's the easiest way to get it done. I mean, it's so nice, it's so easy, and you can do extended boards because you just keep moving the board over, you line it up, and you can do really wide dovetail boards. So if you wanted to do dovetails, but you weren't really into hand cutting dovetails, go check this out. It is 80 bucks. It says it's regularly 109, and right now it's on sale. It's the Lee TD330 through dovetail jig. And I'm telling you what, I mean, if I had to do it over again, I would would buy this in a heartbeat. It looks like it comes with a backer board. It comes with the guide. I do not know if it comes with the bits or not, and I'm not sure what the angle is for the dovetail for the tails. But this thing right here is amazing for making dovetails. So if you were really wanting to get into dovetails, but you just didn't want to do the hand cut, oh my gosh, I mean, if you do, go watch Jonathan Katz-Moses's videos on YouTube, because he's a boss and he knows his way around a hand cut. And he has tons of tutorials. Jonathan Katz-Moses. I didn't put it in the details, but just look up KATZ-MOSES, Katz-Moses. You'll find it. Or if you just look up how to hand cut dovetails, you'll probably find his stuff too. He has some amazing tutorials about hand cutting dovetails. That is a long and tedious process, and you have to be very precise, and you have to have really good saw and technique. And he actually created a jig that sits on that keeps your saw at the right angle, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into hand cutting them. I use my router table and this bad boy, and it is awesome. So for 80 bucks, that's why I want to show you. There was nothing else really in here that I wanted to look at, but for 80 bucks, this thing is badass. Oh, and the other thing on the front is the IsoTunes Link Bluetooth earmuffs. I might actually have to look at those too, because I think we've talked about this before. I don't like wearing in-ears. I don't like the in-ear ones. I got the IsoTune in-ears. They're not comfortable for me. Not for everybody. I'm sure for everybody, a lot of people are comfortable. For me, not so much. I prefer an over-the-ear muff, and I use, just these standard, like I got these from Howard Light, which I used these at work and they were great. So I found me some on Amazon. I believe I got these on Amazon. These are great. Problem is the little ear cup, the little ear pad things get a little, they get a little stiff over time. These are not super soft. Like these are not like my Bose QC15 headphones. I don't know if you can hear that. They're a little crackly, but they work and they do a great job. But I do like ear muffs better. These are actually Bluetooth. So I guess if you wanted to listen to music while you're actually doing stuff, you could do it that way and use these. So I'm probably interested in looking at these, because for $70, that's a pretty good deal. And I think I have money left on my gift card that I got. So I might actually look at that. That's all I saw in here. But anyway, I just wanted to pass that along. If you're looking to make dovetails and you want to do it easy, you've got you can do this without a router table, but if you've got a router table, holy crap, this is so handy. So good. I don't know if it comes with bits or not. That's the only thing. I'd have to look in the site and see. I did not see anything in there because it's just a front page ad. Let me get this out of the way. So you need to go and check it out. Go to woodcraft.com. Look at their stuff, see if it actually comes with the bits or not. I mean, the bits are not that expensive. I don't believe they are. So you need a straight bit and you need the angle bit. They've got a collar in there, so you might need the collar. I don't know if it comes with that stuff or not. So check it out. You know, like the Porter cable collar system for router bits. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but there's a collar system depending on the bit that actually lets you run that inside of a template or something, which basically is what you're doing there. All right, so that's my news of the day. So we got the new block plane, we got the dovetail kit from Lee. Now Lee makes some really more complicated ones. Like there's Porter Cable makes one that's just fantastic rig. I used to have it. I got rid of that one when I got this one. But Lee makes some really precision, beautiful dovetail jigs. This one, in my opinion, it's perfect. It doesn't have a lot of flexibility. You can't change the size of the pins and all that good stuff, which there are other ones I believe do. But man, if you just want to make simple dovetails, I'm all for that. All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases out of clamps and such. And I need to get, I've got 2 actually in. So let me, let's go. I think I got a table. So let's see what we got over here. And this one, yeah, there we go. We'll move this over here. Life in Pain. Woo, hey, welcome to the channel. Thank you. That is a cool plane, right? I love that plane. Well, I love that plane because it was my grandfather's plane. That's what's so cool. My grandfather was a woodworker, a carpenter, kind of a do-it-all kind of guy. And one of my favorite memories of my grandfather was he came over and helped us refinish our basement one summer, and it was great because I got to be in there and help him. And he was just such a smart guy and just such a handy guy to have around. And he's just one of those guys that always just, he just knew how to do stuff. But being from that era where you did a lot of those things for yourself anyway, and you couldn't always just pick up the phone or go on the internet and get somebody to come over and do stuff for you. So, yeah, he was just one of those guys. Worked for Chrysler for a while, up in Michigan. And so lots of fond memories of going up to Michigan, visiting the family up there. I remember a lot about Michigan was that Werner's cream soda. I don't know if anybody else has ever had Werner's cream soda. It's kind of a northern thing, but man, Werner's was so good. I don't know if it's as good as it used to be. I don't drink a lot of cream soda, but man, I remember Werner's cream soda. Okay, I am getting these out of the clamps right now because I had two of them that were still, these have been in clamps since I left on my vacation. And now we're gonna get them out of the clamps and we're gonna clean these up. So I'm gonna just get all of these clamps out of the way here quickly, because this is just, they've been in there and the glue is drying for the joinery. So I basically have rabbit cuts here and these end pieces are just glued in. And I use these big giant Bessie clamps. These are the Revos, the K-body Revos. If you need a parallel clamp, I haven't used any others except these. And I don't know that I ever will because these are pretty special. They just work really well. I mean, they're super parallel and they just do a great job. So the Revo K-bodies, they're expensive. I wish they weren't as expensive as they are, but I mean, for what they are, they're pretty awesome. So they're about 45 bucks a piece for those clamps, I think. You can sometimes find them on sale. Home Depot carries them. I don't know if Lowe's does, but I know Home Depot does. I had that clamp in the middle right here because this piece is not secured yet, but because I was putting a lot of clamping pressure this way, the sides would tend to bow out a little bit. And so I just had that one clamp here with this piece that will fit in later, but I wanted to make sure that it was secured in there. All right, on some of these bases, now all of these have now been, they're now all glued up and we can move forward with what we were going to do. So when I glue these, one problem that I get when I glue them is that I get sometimes I try to be pretty precise, but not always. And I get a little overhang sometimes. So I'm going to go over here and see if I can show you this. So this area right here, you can see that this edge, they've got just a tiny bit of overhang coming past it. And there's a little bit over here. So a lot of these, what I did off camera for some of these was I just kind of clean that up. So like this one right here has been done. So you can see that this is now nice and flush and flat right here. So I just clean these up. Now there's a way to do this that keeps you from screwing up that edge. And I tell you what, I will do this one right here that we just took out, and I'll show you how I do this. Let me take the middle piece out here, and I will show you exactly how I do this. So let's see if I've got a good angle. Let's see here. Set these down. Perhaps. I think I've got a camera set up. I do. So what I do is I put these in my clamp, and I'm going to put a. Oh, I've got one in there already. Okay. So I'm going to put these in the clamp right here. Now, what you want to make sure of is that you have support for the wood that you're getting ready to shear off here. And by support, what I mean is if I take my plane, which I use this one right here, this is my my number 62 low angle bevel up jack plane, which is awesome, and freshly sharpened. But if I take this plane, even though it's sharp, and I run that plane and I do this side right here, what'll happen is this wood on this edge is not supported by anything. So as I'm pushing this blade across, there is a high chance, very high probability that I will chip this out and that pieces will fall off there. The way to avoid that is to come in from the other direction. So instead of working on this side, I'm going to work on this side over here. Because as I push into the board like this, that wood that gets sheared off is supported by this giant piece of wood right here. So this is adding support to this edge right here. So all that end grain is being pushed into this supporting piece of wood, and your chance of chip out is next to none. I won't say zero because, you know, it happens. But all I do is I kind of, and the other thing is this acts as a guide. It's kind of nice. It acts as a guide for where you want this to go. So as the level gets lower and lower, it's easier to do. But all I'm going to do is come across here like this, and I'm just taking little shearing cuts off of here, and I want to get this down till it's flat with this piece right here. The reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to actually I'm going to round these edges over. So you're like, well, if you're rounding them, why do I care if they're flat? Well, because I'm using a round over bit that actually has a bearing that follows it. So if it has a bump up right there, that bearing will follow that lift, and I won't get a perfect round edge. So if I get this square to start with, then I'm in much better position for getting this rounded over. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just so I lose a lot. Now I'm starting to actually get wood off of here, which means I'm pretty close to flat, just a little bit off of this edge right here. This one is pretty much done, just a little over here. But that's really nice now. That is flat and flush. So then all I do is take this and flip it around, and I just do the same thing. You can see in here, I mean, I'm getting wood shavings out. I mean, there's wood shavings in there. So the other thing I like to do, instead of coming straight in, which puts the flat blade all the way across this piece, is I like to come in at an angle, and then it's more of a shear cut. And it's, to me, it's a little cleaner, and it's a little easier to push through the wood. So I just come in here, and I'm just making shear cuts with this. And just take time to find out, like right here, it's already flat, just a little bit high right here. So just kind of get it, and that's all there is to it. But that's kind of an important part of doing this. You just flip it over, and like I said, I'm always working so I've got support behind this edge right there. I've done it the other way, like, oh, I'll be really careful, it'll be okay, or tried to come down this way, and it chips out. It eventually will chip out and make you sad. So I've just learned to just do it this way. Don't try to cheat it. Just understand it's going to happen. So do this, and you mitigate the bad things. So this is just a little bit more here. And depending on the wood, it's really not that hard to do. I was starting to get some right here. So that's done. But you can see it really doesn't take that long. Now I could do that with a block plane. I don't know if this is set up. Let me see here. Yeah, I could do that with a block plane too. So this block plane has been sharpened some. Probably should be a little bit more if I'm going to be doing end grain with it. But this is, like I said, it's super sharp, and I like this because it gives me a nice surface to run across. And this blade is just really, it's a much higher quality blade than that block plane. The steel on this thing is really nice on this particular plane. It's not like a Veritas or anything, but I tell you, these Wood River planes are pretty nice. So if you are in the mood for a nice plane, check them out. You'll save yourself a few bucks probably. Okay, I am pretty low right here. I can't, this is almost there. It's just a little high on this corner. There we go. Just trying to get that corner down. And almost there. I mean, you don't have to be this picky, but anyway, for this type of joint, I just find that works really well. You get these nice flat corners, and then anything I do from this point on, I'm working with a square edge there and not having to worry about it being bumped out. So let's try this one. Now that one was sapele. This one is cherry. So let's put the cherry in here and do the same thing. The other thing is I'll get a little bit of a squeeze out on these edges and from the glue when I had put them in clamps. So I don't use a ton of glue, just enough to get the job done, but there is usually just a hair bit of squeeze out, and this gets rid of all that as well. And I'm cutting into the sideboard here. So this one, pretty flat already. I guess I try to do a good job of when I actually cut the boards, that I try to do a good job of getting that depth right so that I'm not getting a lot of this. But every now and then you get a little bit. This one's actually really close here. Now I have to be careful because this is kind of going against the grain of the flat board here, which is not what I want to do here. And sometimes what I'll do is I just get my, this is a cabinet scraper. If I do damage this grain a little bit, I use this cabinet scraper, which you can go against the grain or with the grain on a cabinet scraper. It does, I mean, look at the shavings off of there are really nice. But that's cleaning up that piece of wood. Because if you go against the grain with a plane, there's a lot of times a chance that you're gonna get some wood that's pulling up there. And you want to avoid that at all costs. So. All right, one more side here. That actually went really quick. I have a couple more, like I have some that are, like that one's done. That one's mostly done. So I've got a couple more of these that just need to be cleaned up. So we'll kind of do that. Once they're cleaned up, I'm going to check them for flatness on the bottom. I've already done that with some of them. The reason I check for flatness is that I'm going to be doing a rabbet cut around the bottom to accept a board for the bottom of the box, or the base. So I will cut a groove all the way around the inside with a rabbet bit, and I want it to be flat when I go to cut that groove. Otherwise that groove might be inconsistent in its depth if the base has a wobble to it or something. So always a good idea to make sure that the bottom of the box or the base is flat before you do something like that. Okay. And this one's against the grain too, so I gotta be careful with this one as well. Yep, I just took a chunk out of that. Oh, did not want to do that. I'm gonna come down this way. Yeah, I'm taking chunks out here, which is not what I want to do. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this around and clean this up with the cabinet scraper. Cabinet scrapers are great. It takes a little while sometimes to learn how to sharpen them. Once you figure it out, they're a great addition to your shop. I mean, there's nothing to them. It's just a piece of steel. And what you do is you take a file and you flatten the edge, and then you get a piece of steel that is harder than this, and you are basically running it over the edges, and it curls the edge of the steel down. So you make it flat and then you curl it like a mushroom. It's kind of it's hard to explain. But anyway, you can do really nice cleanup work with one of these that is hard to do with any other tool, and fix any mistakes you made or anything else. So this one is done as well. These are going pretty quick. A couple of the ones I did took a lot longer because they were oak, and you know, oak is oak. It's just difficult sometimes. So this one has a lot of glue squeeze out on it. But I don't think the wood is actually that far over. So let's see if we can actually, don't like to, see if I can get the glue squeeze out with my block plane, at least the most of it, because that way I'm not screwing this up. I don't like to screw up the edge of my nice plane with glue squeeze out if I can help it. But all I'm trying to do is get this edge flush with this edge, and it should be pretty close. And that's pretty close. Because like I said, these are all going to get a round over when it's done. And it's a pretty big round over. It's a 1-inch round over. So it's a big round over. And that's kind of keeping with the tradition of the original sewing machine bases that would get these roundovers. Against the grain. Cherry is notorious for this. So I got to be careful with this one. Just want to work on this edge. I do not want to mess anything else up here. Just a teeny bit here. There we go. But I did do a little tear right here, so I got to fix this tear. But yeah, so there's generally, I can come backwards too. There's a, and a lot of this will get cleaned up when I sand as well. But I just want to, there we go. Start life off nicely. That did not end well. I need to clean this edge up just a little bit. Hang on. Let's go this way. And you also have to kind of clean these edges of this thing because they get, there we go. That's better. Okay, that's nice and clean. Anyway, what was I saying? I have no idea. I have no idea what I was saying now. Let's see, this one needs it. This is sapele. So I've got a good mix of boards right here of different types of wood. I have a couple of oak ones. And basically all I did was I went to my wood piles, my existing wood, to say what I had before I started making these. So I've got some oak bases. I've got some sapele. If you're not familiar with sapele, it's kind of a, well, it's not kind of, it's a one of the species of mahogany. There's a whole bunch of different mahoganies. It's like, oh, it's mahogany. Well, yeah, there's different kinds of mahogany. So there's the mahoganies that you can't get anymore, like from Brazil. And then there's Dominican, and then there's, oh God, there's a big tear. There's Dominican, there's African. But sapele is a member of the mahogany family and has a lot of the same characteristics. It's a really pretty wood. I'm going to fix this tear out that I just did here because that was bad. It is also one of those woods that can tear out. So you have to be really careful with this stuff. It's great wood, it's beautiful, but you can get some tear out with it. So I'm just trying to clean this up before I switch it over to the other side. There we go. That's nice. Yeah, it's but it's I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's a really pretty. I mean, look, that's just really pretty. Got some really pretty grain in there. I consider this a premium wood. Some people don't. I do, and I charge a premium price for it. Which means there's a little bit of a wood surcharge when I am selling these, because things like walnut and other such woods, oh, what am I doing here? Getting this, oh my God. Oh, this just did such bad things. Holy crap. That's why I don't like this stuff so much sometimes. If you're going the right way, it's beautiful. It's like butter, but you go against it and it is very, I don't know what the word is. It's not splintery, but it likes to lift. That grain likes to lift. But we'll clean it up here. It's all right. We'll get it. We will get it. But it's a nice wood. It cuts really well, which is one thing I like. When you're on the table saw or whatever, it does cut nicely. I'm going to clean up it from this angle now. The thing I like about using the cabinet scraper is I can be very precise with where I want to actually apply the blade. I don't have to clean the whole thing off. I can just hit certain areas with it and clean up those particular areas. And then, you know, kind of touch the whole thing. But yeah, it can be persnickety. It can be a little trying. All right. So, you know, cutting this way, it just cuts like butter because I'm going with the grain with it. And it's like, oh, no problem. So I can come all the way across here with it and it has no issues. I'm almost there. But this is the big reason why you want to control the direction of your cut when you're using a hand plane, especially when you're dealing with end grain or, you know, anything where you have a danger. Ooh, this right there, little area right here too. You can also go across the grain a little bit with a cabinet scraper, which is kind of cool. Can't do this really well with anything else, but you can do it with these. So it's pretty nice. Cabinet scrapers are super nice. You just need like a burnishing rod and a file to sharpen them. All right, this one need be done. So let me see which ones. Oh, I don't know how I skipped over this one, unless I just did the one side. Did I do this side? I think I forgot to do this side because on this cherry one is not done. Not sure how I skipped that. But yeah, the cabinet scrapers, they come in different shapes too. You can get kind of rounded ones, goosenecks, and all kinds of things. So they're really handy for doing hard to sand or hard to plane surfaces. If you got curves or scoops or bowls or anything like that, you can definitely get some different shaped ones. Now, I don't know how easy it is to sharpen those. I've just got the straight ones, so they're pretty straightforward. I don't know how you sharpen the other ones, but now imagine you do it the same way. It just is a little bit more difficult and time consuming. How are we doing here? Almost there. And we'll check these other ones. Now, some of these I've already, like I said, I've already flattened some of these, and I'm gonna have to check these other ones for flatness because, oh golly, it's almost there. And then I just chunk this out right here. I'm gonna check these for flatness because when I run them on my table over here for the router, I want to make sure that we're got a nice flat edge that's running across the router table. All right, come on, clean up. There we go. Yes, I'm making a lot of dirty dust, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, these are done. Let's see, this one's done. This one's done. 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 I think this one over here needed a little bit of touch up. Maybe not. All right, these are all done. So what we're going to do now is we are going to check these for square on the bottom. So what we're looking at is, like on this one right here, you can see that there's a handle, right? So this handle is obviously on the bottom so that you can grab it like this. What I do is I set it on my table over here, and let's see if we got a better view here. Not really. It's not really a good view. Let's give you a better view, shall we? I'm going to give you a better view here. So hang tight for a second. I know you can't see what I'm doing. That's kind of the point because I don't want you to. All right. I'm gonna have to move the other camera too, but anyway, this one will give you a view of what I'm doing here. So I take this is my my table saw. This is a cast iron top. It is very flat. So I use that as my reference for checking flatness. And the way I do that is I take the base, I set it on here so that it's resting on, I don't put it over here. This part is not part of the cast iron, so it's just a steel wing. So I make sure it's on the cast iron, and then what I do is I press on the corners and look to see if I get any wobble. If I don't have any wobble, I'm flat. So these four corners, at least I know. It may be off a little bit here or something, but at least I know the four corners are flat. So this one's good. This is a smaller base. So I'm going to move it over here and then just kind of go through these one at a time. Now some of these I've already done and they're already flattened. So I just need to figure out which ones those are. This one right here, let's see, flat. And like I said, I think I've done most of these, but the ones that just came out of the clamps may be the ones that have not been done. So I'm thinking that's probably the case. I'm going to move this stuff over here, but I'm just going to keep pushing these through the process until I figure out if there's one of them that is not. This one right here is a maple, so this is a little different. This is a figured maple. This is another one of those that will get premium not because it's maple, but because it's figured maple, and it'll look really pretty when it's done. But in terms of flatness, it's flat. So let's just keep moving down the line here. It's nice that I have that one short one, because then I know where I started. This is a quarter sawn white oak. So check this one. It's flat. And if it does have a wobble, what I try to do is figure out which one of the corners is high, or which pair of corners is high, and then I will shave those down with the hand plane, and that makes life a little easier. All right, we've got a sapele right here, and I think I did most of these already. So, there we go. Okay, so this one needs flattening. Okay, so I'm going to set this one over here for the time being. I don't know. Let's set it right here. Let's just check a couple of others here and see. Handles down. This one is also needing to be done. So we're going to stack this one over here. And I know I did about 4 or 5 of them the other day before I left. This one's good. So I can put this one over here. Like I said, it may just be those two that I took out of the clamps this morning were not done, which might be those two right there. This last one right here is also a sapele. And this one's good. So it's just those two I took out of the clamps. All these other ones over here, these 6 others, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 others are just fine. So these two right here are definitely in need of flattening before we can move on to the next step. So we're making progress here, but we need to make sure that we've got everything consistent. So this one definitely, you can see these, and you can see the gap right here. You can see that gap. Watch. See that gap where it gets closed in? And that's what I'm going to get rid of. So that gap is a low spot. So these two edges, this edge and the edge down here, are low. So my goal is to lower these two edges right here until this thing is flat. So what I'm going to do is flip this over, and I'm going to get a pencil, and I'm going to mark these edges. Now it could be just something as simple as I've got some glue squeeze out down here that just needs to be taken off, and it's making this end sit higher. But it could be that this edge of the board is just a little bit higher than this edge, and that is giving me that little bounce. Either way, it's easy to clean up. I'm going to stick my laptop up here. What I need to do though is I need to put that over in my clamps over here. So I'm going to switch to this camera right here, and just to make it easier for you to see, just take my scraper and my square and my phone, because you don't need my phone, and we're gonna put this onto the table with the bottom facing up. I've got these are bench dogs right here, so you can see that they're just little stops, they have round posts that fit into these holes. So I just stick them in here like this. And that provides a stop for my base on one end like that. Now I have these things which are made by Craig, and these are just little bench dog clamps, and they provide pushing force. So what I would do is put it in here, and you just turn this big wheel, and then this arm comes out and pushes against there and creates a nice stop against the base. So now it's held in there very firmly. It just holds it that way. So now what I got to look at is my area. So right here and right here. These are, I'm going to put this up just a little bit. There we go. These are the areas that were high spots, and I can sort of feel them. I don't know if that's enough to make it happen. I'm also going to look at the grain direction, because remember, this stuff, if you go in the wrong direction of the grain, it will mess you up. Now my grain is coming up this way, so I'm not going to cut this direction on this side, because that would be bad. I think the same thing on this one. I don't. So what I need to do is flip this around. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to put it this way. And then the area that I need to cut on this one is right here, but I can go this direction on this side, and that's hopefully not going to chip out. So this is where I put the pencil mark, right here and right here. And I believe what I can do is like take this edge right here and just start shaving this down. And you can see I'm just getting nice long shavings right here. So these, just nice long shavings. And that's all I'm looking to do, is just shave some off of each corner, and then I will pull it up, put it back on my reference surface over there on the cast iron, and see how that's working. I'm going to take this edge right here as well, and I can see, like, when I put this on here, there's a lot of tippiness going on here. So I can already see that this has some work that needs to be done. I'm trying very hard not to chip this out, though. Yeah, see, and it's hard because the wood wants to run different directions depending on which piece. Like this piece, the wood is, I'm going to be cutting this direction. It's very hard. Anyway, so I'm trying to be true to the grain direction and not chip it out, but I also need to get, I need to get these things cut down. Now this feels a little harsh right here. Let me try one this way. Let's see. Not terrible. Sometimes the grain direction is not always true to the way it wants to be cut. I don't know why. You try to cut what they call downhill, but it doesn't always work out that way. This might be good. Let's give this a check. So we're just going to come back over to here. We're going to check this on the table and see if we got a lot of that out. Still a little bit left in there, not much, just a little bit, and same sides. Let me see what I've got here. Yep, same sides. I'm going to, let me see, I'm going to work on this edge. Sometimes you just have to work on one corner. You don't need both corners, just one corner will do. So let me try this corner. I think this has the most wood to give right here. And I don't just work right on the corner. I try to flatten it down so that you don't get a big drop off here, but there we go. Okay, that seemed pretty good. Let's try it again. I'm not taking much. You don't want to shoot past it, because if you go past it, there's a point of no return where now you're having to take off more wood than you wanted to. Still a little bit more. Let me try some more off of, hang on a second, just be sure. Yeah, just looking to where it's running off here. I need to come down on this edge right here a little bit. So that's all this is just a back and forth now to try to get this flat. And you can see I started down here and worked this down. So I'm trying to keep that angle. You can't see that, can you? I started on this edge and worked it down. So I'm trying to keep this as flat as possible. If I just work on the edge I'm going to have a step down. So it'll come over and then step down because I just worked on that edge. So I try to slope everything towards the high corners. Okay, I'm going to work on this corner for a minute. And I think, let me try it in this edge. I think I can get it to go this way. But I'm going to try to work this edge down now. And get it just a little lower. Now that is against the grain right there, and it's not happy with that. And that's what I hate about this is like when you have two pieces of wood that don't want to marry together, sometimes it's difficult, but you do what you got to do. All right, let's see. I think we're good now. I think. There we go. Look at that. Can't see that, can you? There we go. Look at that. No wobble at all. It is 100% flat. So that's what we're after. So this one's good. And there's its middle piece. So now we can go to this one and do the same process. All we're going to do is we're going to look at this face down or bottom down and figure out where that wobble is. So the wobble is coming from this corner right here and this corner back here, which means I've got a high spot over here and a high spot over here. So I'm going to flip this over and then just mark these appropriately with my, now I can feel this. This is actually high, so this is a pretty easy one to spot right here. This one's pretty good. I'm going to mark it, but I don't know that I need to correct a lot. So I think where my correction needs to come from is mostly on this corner right here. I'm going to look at my grain direction and see if I can figure out which way is going to give me the least amount of problems. I think if I cut, and the reason I switch it around is I want to push my plane this way. If it's this way, I have to kind of, it's not as natural. So I think if I go this way, we good. I've got a little bit right here too. Let me see if I can, that's glue squeeze out. I'm just going to clean that off right there. Just, there we go. Just cleaning that off a little bit. But this is my high spot, so I definitely can feel it. This is higher than this. So let's give this some love. And I might start it way back, but I'm getting down to that edge there. So like I said, just trying to keep it all running in a flat straight line, but angled down to that corner so that it is much more natural. I'm getting nice long clean shavings out of this, so I'm definitely cutting in the right direction here. I'm almost down to that edge, almost there. I think one more might do it. Almost. There we go. I heard that little scraping noise, which means I'm going across the grain, which means that now I'm intersecting here. So let's give that a test over on the table here and see if that worked. Because like I said, I could tell that edge was high. Not quite. I'm looking at it, and I'm trying to see where it's touching the table. So this is my low end. So I need to take some off of this end too. So I've already had that marked. Let's see what we need to do in terms of direction here. So I want to cut this in the right direction. And sometimes with cherry, the grain is going up and down, and so you might have one piece where it's cutting downhill on this end and downhill on this end, and in the middle it's, you know, you just have to do the best you can. Light passes are always best. Let's get this thing knocked down here a little bit though. That seems to be okay. It's not too unhappy with this cutting direction right here. That, on the other hand, it was not happy with. So I'm gonna clean this up this way. Now, the beauty is this is the bottom. It'll get sanded, you know. It's not the end of the world if it takes a rough cut. It's not going to ruin everything. So we'll we'll just have to live with that. And then, like I said, it'll get sanded, and I can, oh, I knocked my pencil through the bottom. Wah. All right, let me, let's go over here and check it now. Make sure I get the bottom down here. Still just got a little bit of wobble in it, just a tiny bit. I'm trying to figure out where that wobble's coming from. I think I need to take this side down over here. So I think this side right here, I need to take this down just a hair. So let me loosen these, get this against that as best I can. Get these clamps. And then I'm going to come in here and clean this and try to get this flattened out, I think is my best. Yeah, see, I'm trying to get this flattened down just a little bit here. So I'm using this as my reference and then coming across here to keep that nice and flat. And it's not cutting a lot. It means it's pretty flat. So let's see if that, and like I said, I just take a little bit off at a time. You don't want to go past that point. Oh, it's still being a pain. All right, where do I gotta go? This corner is high. I think right here, I need to work on this. Let me see. If I do it this way, because I think I cleaned, get tightened. There we go. I think right here is gonna be my best bet. It may have had a little bit of a bow or something to it, so we'll kind of clean off this edge just a little bit. And now I'm just to the point where I'm just taking really light passes just to try to get this thing down here. Okay, there we go. It didn't take much, you can see, but now it's flat. All right, and that means we can now move on with the next step. Next step is, oh, it's only noon, so we're doing good. So the next step is to cut those rabbets for the bottoms. Now the bottom is made from a 1/4-inch plywood. It's nothing crazy special. It's I get it from Home Depot because it's already cut into 2x4 sheets, and it's easier for me to haul them around that way. And it's like a birch ply kind of thing. So it usually has one nice side and one kind of okay side. It's not horrible. It is thin. It's about 1/4 of an inch. And so the way we're going to fix that up in here is, I'm going to move all this stuff over. Here, I'm going to give you this view over here. I'm going to move all these over here because right now they're the ones that need to be done. So we're just going to move all of this stuff over. And then we will set up our table to accept the right bit and then start cutting these rabbets. So generally what I will do is I will set up the depth of the blade, not the blade, but the router bit. And I'm gonna move my computer over here. And I will set the router bit depth, and then, do I have this set up for that? I think I do. Look at that, there we go. And I need to get the correct bit. So let me go over to, oh, here it is. So for this one, I use a 1/4-inch. Let me get you a close up here so you can see. So I use a 1/4-inch rabbiting bit. Looks just like this. It has a bearing. That bearing runs on the inside edge of the board, and as it runs across, it cuts 1/4 of an inch deep into the wood, and then however deep I have it. So I will set the depth of this to be slightly deeper than the plywood that I use for the bottoms. But to do that, I need to first take this bit out. I think I have, yeah, I've got a different bit in here. We need to take this one out. So I need to raise that up. Let me go down and then come back up. Sometimes I have to lower it to get it to raise. It's showing its age. This is a pretty heavy duty Triton router bit underneath there, or router underneath there. I think it's like a 2 3/4 or 3 horse or something like that. I can't remember exactly how many horses it has to it, but it has a few horses. It's a plunge router, but it's set up so that it actually comes with this handle. And is that the right one? So it comes with this handle right here, and you can actually mount it underneath the table. And this Craig plate right here is actually made specifically for this router, which is kind of cool. So let me find my remote. I'm going to clean it out first. All right. Okay. And this is unplugged and not going to rip my fingers off or anything, just in case you were wondering. I do that. I do try to be safety guy, you know, because I like my fingers. I like them right where they are. All right, so we're going to loosen this. I need to get my wrench. And the nice thing when you raise this all the way to the top, it actually, there's a position where you turn to and it locks this in place. So just give it a spin, it'll get loose, and then it kind of gets tight again. You have to get one more spin. And now that's done. Pull this one out. So the chamfer bit comes out and the rabbet bit goes in. I do not seat these all the way to the bottom, just because I need clearance to go above my plate. So usually I come up about 1/8 of an inch or so from the bottom. It's not a lot, but it still has tons of meat in the collet there to tighten down on it. So, and then we will lower this, and I need to get a different plate because this one is a little large for that bit. I have different sizes, so let's find the appropriate one. Let's look at try the 1 inch. I think the 1 inch will work. Yep, 1 inch is perfect. So I'll lower this down. You have to lower it down far enough for the collet to get below the level of this plate right here. And that's why I said I usually like to add a little bit of lift to my bit there, just so I have enough space to get it down below that plate. Now, the one thing I need is a piece of plywood, so that we can space this and measure it correctly. So let me go over here to my scrap pile real quick and grab a piece of the plywood that we will be using. I have some small pieces here that I just keep around for projects and whatnots. So this is the plywood. You can see it's a birch ply. Usually not a lot of knots in there, but that's why this section didn't get used, because it had a ugly knot, and they just throw this filler in there and go, oh, look, it's good. It's like, no, not really. But what I do is I use this to figure out how much depth I need. So I just set this flat on the table, because what I want to do is I want to have this rabbet bit be deeper than this. I want this to be set up inside the base, not flat on the, I don't want it to sit flat on the table like this. I want it to actually be up just a little bit, not like a lot, just like 1/16 of an inch or so. So what I do is I come over here and I feel that edge of that blade, and I will raise that up until I get what I consider to be the appropriate amount of spacing in there. Now this has a little bit of a cup to it. I just want to make sure it's nice and flat. And that looks pretty good. I will not actually, what I will do is I will make a cut, a test cut, I will check this. Like I've got lots of scrap wood. Like this board right here I'll use. And I will cut this into the edge of the board and then check the depth on here. So I'll check the depth of this inside the cut once I make it. And that will let me know that I'm in the right neighborhood for making these cuts. Let's see, so I can put this away. The other thing I will do is once I get the depth set, I will set my marking gauge right here to that depth, and I'm just going to use the marking gauge to score a line on the inside of the boards. Doesn't have to be perfect, but what it does is it breaks those edge fibers right on the edge there and keeps my chip out that I get from this bit down to the bare minimum, because it will chip out. I mean, it's just the way it is. The other thing I need to do to be a little bit clean here is I'm going to get a piece of cardboard that I use all the time, if I can find it. Where's my cardboard? Oh, it's over here. I forgot, I just stashed it the other day right here. I'm gonna get a piece of cardboard, and just to keep the stuff, because I do not have a hose hooked up down below. So I just put this piece of cardboard right here, and all it does is it catches the dust that's flying that way and just keeps it down. And then I have my hose right here, which I turn on, and that just catches the rest of it. So hopefully it'll do a good job. We need to get my, I need to find my plug now. What's the plug? Oh, plugged into the CNC machine. We don't need a CNC right now. So we will hook up the power, because that's just how we roll. Our power is always where we don't need it. All right, let's make a test cut. I'm going to move this off to the side for a minute. And that gives me room to stand right here. And normally the base is going to be facing this way, and it would make the cut on this edge right here. But I'm going to do it this way because it's more stable, because I don't have a whole base here. I just have this piece. It's more stable this way. And actually, I'm not going to use this piece because I could probably use that for something else one of these days. This though, this I can definitely use. So we will use this. I will get a little block right here, a little pad to put my hand on this, because I don't want to mess my hand up. We're just going to make a few passes until this is full depth. And it'll be good. I need my ears, and we need the remote, and we're plugged in. All right, let's go. Okay, that's all we wanted to do was make this little ledge right there, okay? That is right here, that's the depth that I want in my wall. And to verify that, we're gonna check and see how deep that is with this piece of plywood. And I'll show you, that's actually maybe a little too deep. I've got a little bit more overhang here. I might go down just a hair. That's a little bit much. So I'm going to lower this just a tiny bit. Okay, just a tiny bit. Let me see here. There we go. I think that might be good. I might actually, I'm going to make another cut, and we're going to see how that looks. So let's cut. Yeah, I don't know if you saw when I was doing this and I got to the edger and it kind of grabbed it and pulled it. That's why I use this, because if that's my fingers and it pulled it into the blade, that's a bad day. Um, we don't want bad days in the shop. We want good days in the shop. All right, this is much better. Not nearly as deep. That other one was just, it was a little too deep. It was about a 30-second too deep. This is good. I've got about a 1/16 of an inch. And that gives me some leeway. So for sanding and other stuff, it just gives me that extra little meat on the bottom. Now what I can do is I can set my depth here on this. What I can do is I'll take this and I will set this inside, and then I will lower the marking gauge until it touches that edge, because now that is the perfect guide. And what I will do is I'll take this inside the box and I will run this along the edge and just do this, and it creates just enough of a cut in there. I'm not marking it so I can see where to cut. I'm marking it because it helps break those fibers on the edge, and that's what you want. Now, the other thing I need to make sure that I do, this is the most important part, is I need to make sure that when I run this through here, and it runs through standing up like this, it does not go on the edge like this. It actually goes there. I'll put it inside and I run it and go all the way around the perimeter. But I need to make sure that I'm doing the bottom of the base. This is the bottom, and I know that because here's the handles. So very important the handles are down before you start cutting that rabbet bit, because if they're not, you're in big trouble. Well, you're not, but I am. So all I'm going to do is take this and I'm going to run it on the inside here. Just get it nice and flat on there and just run it across. And like I said, all I'm doing is breaking those fibers on the edge, and that will help when that blade passes through there. It just kind of, those fibers on the edge are already cut, and it keeps the chip out. I mean, it doesn't eliminate it. I'll still get a little bit, but it's not too bad. See if I can do this right here. Maybe, there we go. So I need to keep that flat and just run it this way. So like that. Okay. And I'm just going to keep doing this around the perimeter here and just get this flat. It doesn't take long, but it pays dividends, because I've tried it with and without, and I definitely notice some improvements when I'm doing it with the edge mark in here. That's it. So now we can start cutting. So I do this basically in 2 passes. I don't do it all the way. I got to get these out of the way because I will hit these clamps as I'm going. But I do this in more than 1 pass. I don't want to cut the full meat of the cut, because it's a lot of wood that has to come out of there. It's 1/4 of an inch of wood, and I don't want that much wood, because then you will get a lot more tear out. So I try to make 1 pass that makes the path going all the way around, and then I'll make a second pass that, yeah, that's side down. The second pass is to the full depth of the cut, and I find that's the best way. So two passes per item here. Let me get rid of that straw. Don't need that. All right. Okay, just to show you, that's just a partial cut around the inside, and you can see how much material is removed there. Also, I'm just looking to see if I have a mask because I forget when I do it on the interior, what it does is it pushes all that dust towards me, and so it really makes a lot of dust. And I used to have some masks over here, but you know, COVID times, I think my masks got taken by family members. Hang on just 1 second. I'm going to run over here and grab a mask. I know where one is really quick. I just have to go inside. Hi, puppies. Hey, buddy. There's one right there. Okay. All righty. Now we're good. I got a little mask. I'm just going to put this on because well, I love the smell of sapele. It actually smells kind of cool while you're cutting it. It is going right in my face. So I've just got a little dust mask here, which will be perfect. I don't talk while I'm doing this anyway, so you won't really miss any conversation. I'm going to clean the dust up here, and then we're going to make the final pass. Just so you can see, I've started that cut, so I don't know if you can see all those edges, but it's not to its full depth yet, and it's just very rough. But it gets that edge established. And the other thing I was going to show you, if I can find it, yeah, there's some large pieces flying out of here, and that's what I was talking about, chip out. So that's why I like to make that first pass, and I like to make that rough cut, or the marking knife cut. All right. All right, so now you can see, hopefully, I'll bring it a little closer to the camera here so you can see that this is what we're after. You can see this really nice ridge line. It needs a little, there's some little rough edges here, just needs some sandpaper cleanup. But these are actually really, really nice and smooth, nice rounded edges. And that's what we're after. This nice lip that comes all the way around, this rabbit right through here. And that is what we will set that, we will cut that plywood to size and set it down inside there. And that's what's going to make our bottoms. So pretty nice. This one's done. I will set it aside. Let me get the middle piece here and set this one aside. We'll grab another one. Now this gets done to all of them. So it doesn't matter if it's the short base, the long base, it doesn't matter. They all get this process. So I'm just going to come over and grab another one. And then I'm going to get my marking gauge and mark this one. The marking gauge I found, like I said, it does help a lot. So get this clamp out of here. It doesn't belong over here. Set it over to the side here. There we go. Because then I can hang this off the edge like this and do the marking gauge. I do find, like I said, I'm going to get some tear out, some chip out with that, but it keeps it confined. And if I can keep it from tearing into this interior portion right here and just have it chip deeper, that's fine, because that's going to get removed later anyway with the second cut. So yeah, I just find that this works. It just works. Cut those fibers first, you get a cleaner cut. So this is an area I always have to be careful with when I'm running these things through. As you can see, this little dado cut right here, because the bearing of this bit runs along the inside edge, I have to really be careful that I don't let it go down in, because that cut that would fall inside here. So, and then I'd have rounded edges and stuff. So I have to be really careful when I go with the router bit around those dados, but otherwise it's not too bad. So just finish this up real quick. And like I said, doesn't take long. This is a really sharp carbon disc, so it cuts really well. And yeah, that's all there was to that. And then same thing, we're going to make 2 cuts. I will stop halfway, clean up the dust and dirt, and then finish the cut. So let's get going. See, that's the thing with my live stream. You get all the cuts. You don't just get like the edited cuts. Like, oh, here's what happens when I cut one and then it's done. And, you know, and then all of a sudden there's 20 of them that have been cut. Nope. you get all the cuts because there's no edits going on here. You're just working. We're working, baby. It's just good work stuff. So, but this is what, you know, if you want to make stuff, these are the steps. This is what you go through. And this is what I go through anyway. So, I mean, if I was showing you how to make one of these, I would edit the heck out of this so that you wouldn't have to watch me do all of this. But I'm not doing this as a tutorial. I'm just doing this to sell these suckers and make some money. How about that? Does that sound good? Sounds good to me. Oh, I hate it when I do that. I hate it when I do that. I rolled it the wrong way, and I unscrewed my screw in here. So I had to find a little, I know I've got a screwdriver. Isn't there a Phillips head on this stupid thing? Really? No Phillips head? Well, this is a worthless little tool. All right, hang on. I got to get a Phillips head screwdriver and tighten this back up because I rolled my, I rolled it the wrong way. And, oh, shoot. It's not Phillipsy. There's a Phillips. I need to super glue this thing in is what I need to do. There we go. Okay. If I pull it towards me, it's always in a, if I pull this towards me, it's always tightening this screw. If I roll back the other way, it's like all of a sudden it's like, nope, you're loosening. Thanks for loosening us. There we go. But this thing doesn't take long. Doesn't take long to do this, but I'm telling you what, man, definitely minutes. This thing cost me, well, ow, shoot, splinters. This thing cost me $10. $10. I actually got it as a kit. The wood is mine. I made the wooden part and drilled the holes for it and stuff. So it basically came with the long part and this. And if you go back and look in my go back and look through my feeds, you'll see one in there, and it'll talk about it, and it actually has a link in there, so about where it came from. All right, is this thing flat? Let me check. This thing does not seem flat, so I need to do something real quick, because the last thing I want to do is cut this bottom if that's not flat. I thought I checked all these. This is not, I can't use this melamine table surface here. These two are done. I need to move these out of the way. So give me just a second here. It's important that I check this because if it's not flat, then I'm not going to get good results. So this will just take a second, but it just seems like it's not. It is. It just, for whatever reason, it didn't seem like it was, so we're good. I'd rather be overcautious and not have to worry about it than a little laissez-faire and, you know, have to try to fix a problem at the end. So we'll see. But right now it looks like it's good. The lines are done. So let's keep moving here because we've got 5 more after this. What time is it? It is 12:30. Did my son go to work? He did go to work. All right, just me and my puppies. Let's go. So if you're wondering why I don't just make the whole cut, it's two things. One is that I don't want to apply that much force into the wood as it's cutting. I'd rather take a small cut, keeps the chip outs a little less. The other reason is that I have to clean up that mess because I don't want to accidentally lift the wood onto a pile of dust, and that means it's not sitting flat on the table, and I may not be getting the best, the deepest cut, the most accurate cut. So I try to keep the dust up and make it in 2 passes there. So that's why I do that. Now this is quarter sawn white oak. This is some tough wood, which is why they use it for furniture and such, because it's tough. It holds up over time. There's pieces of furniture that are a couple hundred years old made out of this stuff. It just is really good wood, but it also can be a challenge to work with. I mean, it cuts pretty well, but especially the quarter sawn stuff, it can be a little chippy. So we'll make sure we take our time and do this right. Do this on the right edge. All right, let's go. It's kind of funny because it seems like we're not taking very much wood out of here, but Man, we leave a lot of wood behind when we make those cuts. A lot of wood left behind. So I'm just going to keep moving these forward. And I think that's stopped. So we're halfway. So that's good. Halfway there. This is a small one. This won't take as much time. So a little bit faster. Let me just get the lines cut here. You can also go out and buy one of these type marking gauges with the round heads on them. Usually 25 to 30 bucks, which is why this was so attractive at 10 and I can supply my own wood. So that was, I thought, very helpful. All righty. Ooh, that's got, I need to clean this up with the, with my little steel there because, ooh, ugly. All right. Moving on, hang on. Make sure nothing important here. All right. Make sure there was no messages or anything. All right, let's go. Woo-hoo. All right. So I got to show you this because this is why I make the cut. So I don't know. I'm going to switch cameras here real quick. So if you look here, it was making this cut along through here. Look at this piece that tried to chip out right here. I mean, look at that chip out right there. That is a, I don't know if you can see this. This is a big piece that's chipping out right here. Look at that. But you know where it's chipping? It's chipping right along that edge that I cut with the marking knife. So had I not done that, that would have been bad. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. But if I hadn't, this piece right here chipped off cleanly on that marking guide. If I hadn't used that marking edge, that would have been bad news. So that's why I wanted to show you that. It's like, that's why I use it. has some big pieces in here. Tell you, man, sapele can be scary stuff. That's some big pieces. In the end, I mean, it all looks beautiful and it's nice and clean, but man, it has thrown off some huge chip outs during that process. And I tell you, I'm glad I'm wearing glasses because they were, some of those were headed towards my face. So I would say safety glasses, a mask, if you're doing this kind of stuff. Definitely a good thing. They hit my hands. My hands are okay. I mean, it's not, I don't have little splinters hanging out of my hand or anything, but yeah, definitely safety gear. Sapele is it's a beautiful wood, but it does present its own problems. Now right here, I had a chip out. I super glued it. I'm going to give this some extra cutting love right here because I really want that edge to be clean, where I had to super glue that edge back in there. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but it's sapele, so who knows. Now, if I'm saying that wrong according to you, I'm sorry. Some people say sapele, some say sapele. I just say it's really pretty. But it's not without its own special pain in the ass, pardon my French, issues. Because it can be a pain to work with. That I'm really worried about that one section though, so I'm going to go slow through there. Might as well tackle that early on. Might as well. I'm just checking my feeds here. Everybody look good? Everybody look nice? Okay. I just want to make sure nobody's sending comments my way. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5, so we have these last 3. Let's go. All right. That super glue section held up really nice. I don't even know where it was now, but it did well. So, which was kind of my thought. It wasn't really super deep, but deep enough that I didn't want it to fall apart before I actually got a chance to do this rabbit cut on the bottom. So, which is why I super glued it. All right. Well, now this could be challenging as well, because this is figured maple. Figured maple is notoriously difficult to work with sometimes, just because of the nature of the figure, which means the grain's kind of running in a lot of different directions, which is one of the beautiful things about it. But I don't think we'll have any trouble with this. I think we'll be okay. I don't think it'll be too bad. We'll be all right. So we'll just, we'll just do like everything else and just make our cuts and see where it leads us. Okay, figured maple. Let's go. You know, it's funny. I look at the shavings that came off of the maple, and they're so much finer than the other woods. It's really, really interesting how different they come off the wood there. Definitely fluffier than the others, most definitely. Kind of surprising, but it's okay. Another sapelli, two more sapellis, I think. No, this is an oak. I'm sorry, this is an oak. Now I've got a board in the bottom of this. I need to take that out. So I definitely need to take this off the bottom of it. So I've got to remove this board. because otherwise I won't be able to pass my my knife through there. Yeah, I was just noticing that also, like some of these woods have very unique, like the white oak has a very unique smell when being cut. The same with the sapelli. Kind of interesting, different woods, different smells when they're being cut. Walnut, I love the smell of walnut when it's being cut. I always think sapelli kind of smells like soap, like a fancy hand soap or something when it's being cut. It's just me. But yeah, this is another white oak, so I'm making sure I get a nice good cut on here because we don't want any chip out. All right, 2 to go. This one and one more sapelli. I think, no, wait. This might be the last one, is it? Holy crud. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, sure. Well, this is our last one, so hallelujah. We are good to go. Let's get this done. Oh, all right. Let me get this dust filter off my face. That is the last of the bases. We're all good. We've got really nice. I mean, there's a little fuzz that just needs to, like a little piece of 400 grit sandpaper to clean it right off. But there's a little fuzz, but that's okay. But we now have these really nice routes in here where we will take this and we will cut a piece. Well, there you go. You can see that piece is actually almost the right width, but that will fit inside and give me just a little bit of a lip right there. So if I have to sand these or whatever, I'm not sanding into the bottom. I've got just a little bit of meat left on the side there. And so basically what happens next, let's switch cameras here since we're kind of in that what happens next portion here. Hang on, I gotta move some clamps off my seat. All right. What are we at? A little after 1 o'clock. I am dusty. That is probably that is the heaviest duty routing I do on my projects is using that, and it does create so much waste. And I'll have to clean up. You can't see the floor, but it's covered. I wish I had a dust collection underneath, but it is what it is. I just end up cleaning it up, so it's okay. But coming up next, what I will do is I have to assess how much plywood I have. I think I need to go get another sheet. I'm looking at my supply, which is my flat wood supplies over there, my plywood and stuff. I see one large piece. If I have two, I'm covered because these are all long. This is about 7.5 inches wide, and it will need to be, for the most part, these need to be about 20 inches. Yeah, 20 inches long. So we'll just say 8 by 20. And the boards are 24 across. So depending on how I cut them, I can maybe get 3 strips. They're 42 or 48 inches long, so I can get 2 lengthwise out of a, well, right here. So I can get maybe 3 lanes out of a sheet of 2x4 plywood. And then one this way, because there'll be a little extra on the edges. But if I can get 6, that still wouldn't be enough out of one sheet. So I would need at least one more sheet. So I will have to look and see if I might have another cut off or thin sheet or something over there to look and see. I'm trying to determine if I need to go to the Home Depot or not. Not that I don't like going to the Home Depot, but it wasn't really on my game plan right now. I've got a lot of stuff to do. I've got yard work to do. Really not my favorite, but I was gone for over a week and my grass decided to grow while I was gone. So I need to cut the grass so the neighbors aren't all hating on me and such. So I will definitely make that determination. When I cut these down to size, what ends up happening is, I'll get the little shorty here. Stop it. So what I end up doing is I will cut these to length. I will measure from here to here and find out how long this needs to be. And I'll cut a piece that long. And then I will measure, the width, cut it width-wise. So I have a piece that is a rough rectangle of this, actually a pretty precise rectangle. Problem is, as you can probably see, it won't fit. Let me show you a little closer here. It's not going to fit in the corners because these rabbet cuts are rounded right here, right? So once I get the length cut and the width cut, excuse me, I will go through and I have a nickel that I use because the nickel is about the same radius as this rabbet bit makes. And I will use that nickel to create a corner on here. Well, I'll trace a corner on here with a pencil. And then I go over to my disc sander and just knock that off with the disc sander so that the rounded edges then fit perfectly in here. And then I have a bottom. What happens after that is I glue them in. So I put a bead of glue around the perimeter right here. I put the bottoms in, and then I get some boards, like, long boards, and I will clamp them so that this board is distributing that pressure across a much larger area. And I'll do that with boards at each side. So I'll do 4 boards, but basically clamping cauls. So I use 4 clamping cauls to distribute the weight across the board. And then when the glue dries, these things don't move. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. These are not load-bearing bottoms, okay? You don't load this up full of stuff and then lift the drawer. It's not made for that. The only purpose of this is to keep dust and debris that falls out of the sewing machine from falling on your table, or any oil when you oil the machine, and things like that. It keeps that from falling through. I mean, I don't have to put a bottom on these. I could just use them like this. But the bottom is nice because it just keeps debris and such from falling through onto your table surface below. And they look, like here you can see inside, like in that side anyway. If you can see it, they look really nice when they're all in there. They look nice. So that's the whole point of the bottom, is to not support the machine. The machines will actually be supported on triangular blocks that look like this. Those triangular blocks get glued into the corners. I mean, this is a rough showing of you right there. So you can see that block in the corner right there. Woo, there it is. So that block gets glued into the corner, and it has a glue surface here and here. And that glue surface on that block is what actually holds up the machine, not the bottom of the base. So doesn't need to hold up weight. Those corners do, and the corners are fantastic. I've never had one of those triangular corners fail because I glue them in and I clamp them in and I leave them for quite a while, so that glue has a really good chance of setting up firm. And I've never had one of my triangular corners fail. So yeah, the bottom is just there to catch stuff. It's not there to hold any weight. And these machines are heavy. I mean, I can't lift it. There it is. There's a machine right there. This thing is somewhere in the 15 to 17 pound range. It feels about like my old bowling ball. You know, I threw a 16-pound ball. That feels about the same. So they're heavy, which is why I put handles on the sides, because if you don't want to try to lift that off a table flat. You want to have something to get your fingers under, and that's why I did that with the little handles, and people love the handles. So anywho, all right, I think we're at a good point to stop today. I don't want to jump in and start doing the bottoms and such. I will check my supply of plywood and ascertain whether we need to make a run or not to the store. Hopefully not. Hopefully I have enough in there. I'm just trying to see. I might have 2 sheets in there, which would be awesome. But anyway, I'll figure out what I need. So by the time we come back here on Wednesday, we'll have the stuff for the bottoms. Maybe I'll have them already kind of pre-cut, and we can just kind of round them and do some well, maybe I won't, because I do have to glue them. Maybe I'll do part of them. The problem is clamping these things. It takes a lot of clamps. I've got 8 bases here. That's a lot of clamps, because you figure there's 4 clamps per base. So 1 on each side to hold those clamping cauls in. So yeah, that's a lot of clamps, right? So maybe I don't know, 32 clamps. I don't think I have that many. We'll see. We'll see what we can come up with. Anyway, it'll be fun. We'll figure that out for Wednesday. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out of here, grab some lunch, see if my grass is dry. Hopefully, maybe. It is a little breezy out, so maybe it's a little dry and I can get that cut. I've got some other things I want to work on. And yeah, it's a good morning in the shop. I appreciate everybody coming by. Let me just grab my computer over here, because I kind of shoved it in the side. I don't think there was any comments, except for Life in Pain stopped in and saw my nice plane. So thank you for stopping in, Life in Pain. If you're still there, I appreciate it. And anybody else who popped in to say hello or to just check out what I was up to, thanks. I will be here. Like I said, that was a little vacation. I'm back 3 days a week. I stream on Twitch, I stream on Facebook, and I stream on YouTube. The addresses of which are all like down here in the bottom. You can sort of see them. They're also in the description, at least on Facebook and YouTube. They're in the description. So facebook.com slash, what is it? Facebook.com / JR's Woodshop, all one word. YouTube is Jeff Revell. You can put it JEFFREVELL, and you'll find me. Twitch is JR's Woodshop as well. So if you do a search for JR's Woodshop, you'll find me there too. So thank you much for coming. Hit the like, share thing. Thank you, Life in Pain. Appreciate you coming by. And everybody else, have a great day. I will see you back here on Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Enjoy your holiday. Cheers.